Hi, I'm Mike Camargo from allthingsrosendale.com, a new website starting in January 2014, bringing you information on government, activism, events, shows, and volunteer opportunities throughout Rosendale. If you'd like to contribute something to our events calendar, you can email me at mike@allthingsrosendale.com. I'm here tonight with Kevin Hines, who's running for the County Legislature, District 19, that represents the towns of Rosendale and Marbletown. Thanks very much for joining me, Kevin.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me.
So why don't we get started if you tell me a little bit about yourself and why you're running.
Okay, well, I was born in the Bronx in 1961, moved up to Crosshaven, New York in 1973, attended Roundup Valley High School. I graduated from Kingston High School in 1979, volunteered for service in the United States Army, where I graduated from infantry school as an infantry anti-tank gunner. And when I did my 3 years of active service, when I left the service in 1982, I joined the National Guard of an infantry unit out of Leeds by Catskill, served there for several years in the National Guard. Also, when I got out of the service, I took a job at Canfield Supply, worked there for approximately a little over a year, then joined the State Department of Corrections, where I was employed for 25 years. I worked at Sing Sing Correctional Facility, I worked Fishkill Correctional Facility, and also the last 24 years of my service at Eastern Correctional in Napanoch, where I retired in 2009. I retired from the Corrections Department. Had a lot of fun there, worked with a lot of great people. I miss the people, don't miss all the malarkey that went along with the job. But I enjoyed working with those folks. They were great people to work with.
So this is your first time running for public office. What's motivating you?
I've never run for public office before, and the reason we're sitting here today, the person who currently holds the seat, Rob Parody, there were issues, let's call it, and I had never met the man before myself, and they were looking for somebody to run for this spot, and after they couldn't find anybody, I said, well, instead of complaining about stuff, get up and do something about it. So here I sit.
Nice. So what are some of the issues that you were going to be faced with in this coming election cycle?
Well, some of the issues that I see coming down the road are with the budgets getting tighter and tighter, and I do support the county executive's effort to stay under the 2% tax cap. The county executive's been working hard on that. I know the legislator's been working hard on that issue as well. And so there's not as much money to go around. One of the issues that I'm hearing about that really affects mainly the town of Marbletown, but also the town of Rosendale, is the sheriff's budget. There is some discussion about cutting back on the sheriff's road patrol. And as far as I'm concerned, one of the things that government is supposed to be doing is making the people safe and secure. That's one of the primary issues of any government. So as far as I'm concerned, the road patrol has to stay. The town of Marbletown has no police protection aside from the sheriff's office and the state police. If you cut back on the road patrol, if there is a situation in Stone Ridge or High Falls, the nearest police officer might be in the opposite side of Olive or down in the New Paltz area. It takes a long time to get from point A to point B. Also, as a former police officer, I worked for the town of Rosendale Police for several years as a part-time police officer. You need backup as a police officer, and your nearest police officer backup is in Ellenville. That doesn't work for me. So now you're dealing with public safety and also police officer safety. So I would work together with the legislature and even the county executive to find money where we could to make sure that at least the road patrol is funded. That's a priority. Any politician is going to tell you that they will work well with the other side, and I will. I will work with whoever I need to work with. But at some point in time, you got to dig your heels in the ground and say, we'll talk, but this is where we need to be. And how we get there is how we fight. You don't want to fight with people, but this has to be done. And we'll work together to get it done, and keeping the sheriff's road patrol on the road, helping the people and keeping the public safe. That's the main issue. One of the other issues that's coming down the road is there's a state initiative on the ballot this year for gambling in casinos. And I'm all in favor of business. I was a big supporter of the Williams Lake project. I felt for this community, Rosendale, even Stone Ridge, the Williams Lake project would bring jobs. would bring added tax revenue to the area and also to the county, help the school taxes as well. So I was a big proponent of the Williams Lake project. Same thing with the casinos. I'm not a gambler. I don't gamble. I figure I gamble on life every time I get out of bed in the morning. So I don't throw my money away. And I don't like some of the effects, people who spend all their hard-earned money at gambling, but it's their money, it's their choice, that's up to them. But as far as the casinos themselves, it's going to bring jobs, tax money to the towns, to the county, also to the school districts, which is a good thing. The downside of the casinos I see are the bad things that come with it. You're going to have check cashing booths, you're going to have porn shops, bad things. And to me, it's important for the legislature, working with the state legislature as well, to make sure that these areas are watched, kept an eye on. Make sure that development is around the casino is good businesses, not the bad businesses. You want to look 10, 15, 20 years down the road with this issue. Where are we going to be? Are we going to look like Atlantic City is today? Or are we going to look like some of the other areas of the country that have had casinos and they thrive? The whole area thrives. And it has to be looked at and managed correctly. Again, working with the state, working within our own county, and working with the town where the casinos may be. Making sure that the bad crime, the bad things stay out, and the good things stay in. And that's just going to take oversight on the county's part, as well as the state's part. And I like to see the jobs and the tax revenue come from the casinos, but we need to keep an eye on this. Another derivative of this is also the traffic. There's going to be an increase in traffic. The county's going to get some of the money from the casinos. Some of that money should be filtered back to those communities. Make sure that the infrastructure stays good, so that commerce can move, so that the kids can be able to move around the areas good. Lighted, lights. The roads are well maintained. Making sure that the area doesn't fall into disrepair. Housing. You don't want broken down apartment buildings. You want nice places, condo type places growing. So the money should filter down to them to help them do that. Also with the traffic, there would be an increase in traffic along 213 through Rosedale towards 209, and also the 209 corridor, which goes through Marbletown. So I feel a casino should address those issues as far as added traffic and the noise that comes with it. There should be some type of, not the cement barriers you see down in New Jersey. I don't like those things. Those things don't. That looks terrible. But there should be something working with the area, the people of the area, even with the local towns along 209, to put some type of vegetation up to help keep some of the noise traffic down, and also the pollution. Having trees in the area that absorb the carbon monoxide, as well as keeping the noise down. So these are things that have to be looked at, and the legislature should be one part of that to keep an eye on this and monitor what goes on. You just can't say, okay, build your casino and have a good day. Mm-hmm. Somebody has to be watching this. Mm-hmm. And one of the other issues that's coming up is the 911 system. The 911 system, the dispatchers who work up there, great people. I know several of them. They're super people. They do an awesome job. Art Schneider, Steve Peterson, they do great work up there. But the system is getting older. So here's an opportunity, and again, it comes down to money. You have to be realistic about this. Can this be done overnight? No, it can't be. But if you start moving in the direction to consider building a new 911 center in the middle of Ulster County, which in this case, possibly the Ulster County Community College, which is, you have to work with the state to get some of that property set aside, but you have a building dedicated to the 911 center. Mm-hmm. And once you get all that done, you have also a fire department, an EMS, and possibly a police training center. Again, middle of the county. Everybody can get to it. It's relatively easy to get there. But it's going to cost a lot of money. The training center doesn't cost a heck of a lot of money. The 911 center would cost a heck of a lot of money to do. And they're talking about a new radio system for all emergency services in the county. And that's going to. I went to the meetings for that 2 years ago, and they were talking over $20 million for that. And Again, it comes down to money. Henceforth, Williams Lake project, helping with the county with that. Possibly the casinos, money should be set, some of that money should be set aside to start moving in that direction. I'd like to see that. I don't want to see all that money dumped into one location. Some of that money, the extra tax money that comes in, should be used not to do new and expensive things. Take some of that money and just spread it out to where it needs to be in areas where it's not being funded now. There's no reason to start a new project, a new fund, filter the money back down and see everything build up again. So if we are able to build a new 911 center and a fire department training center, we're looking down the road to the future of Ulster County, so that people have a more vibrant, easier access. Some of the issues that came up for the 911 center was Hurricane Irene. That was just 2 years ago. People were calling fire control if they could call up the 911 center at all, if they were able to get it there. Their calls for help were not getting out of fire control. They were overwhelmed. The system wasn't able to keep up with everything. So I know several fire departments in Ulster County that just never received calls. They just never got any because they were either overwhelmed or the calls itself never got into the system because it was just so overwhelmed. I know Hurricane Irene is a once in a generational type of storm, but I've lived here in Ulster County since 1973, and this is, I think, the third or fourth hurricane I've seen come through. So it happens, and we're talking blizzards, we're talking a variety of different natural occurrences, just basic, winter floods, summer floods, and the system does tend to get overwhelmed. So we need to expand the 911 center. We need to upgrade our radio system. At the same time, if we can get a centralized fire, EMS, and police training center, that benefits everybody. Keep our professionals well trained, which is what you want.
It's something people don't usually think about until they need it.
Exactly. I mean, people never think about using a fire extinguisher until they actually have to use one. So that's part of my job where I work is to teach people how to use those things. And I'm surprised sometimes how afraid people are to use those. It's the same thing with the phone. You call 911. Now you're expecting, trained professionals to come help you, and we want that as well. So.
Great. Was there anything else that you'd like to add?
Just some of my community activities that I've done since I moved up here. After I got out of the Army, I joined my local fire department, which is the Bloomington Fire Department. I currently serve as the fire company president. I've had that post now for 10 years. I also serve as assistant chief, where I was also the training officer for our department for 13 years. And I've had a variety of other jobs that I've held in that department. Also, I was a Little League coach at Marbletown, Rosendale, the Roundout Valley Little League. I was a coach and a manager there for several years. And I coached ASO soccer, which was out of Marbletown. Did that for several years. My son was in Cub Scouts, so I was a Cub Scout troop leader, den leader, and all the kids were from Marbletown. They were all from Stone Ridge, except for my son was from Rosendale. So I know a lot of these younger people now. So I was involved in that stuff, and my daughter was also in a Girl Scout troop. I really wasn't involved in that except for driving her there and sitting and helping out once in a while. My wife made me handle that. But it was just, again, the troop was mainly kids from the Marbletown area. So, it's, the way some of the people look at it, this is a Rosendale issue. This is no, this is not. I'm from Rosendale. I focus on Rosendale. I do sincerely plan on representing everybody. That's one thing that I want to see done. I don't care if you voted for me. When the election is over, I don't care who you voted for. I've been to many fires, many emergencies, and I never stopped once to say, gee, your arm's broken. Are you a Democrat or Republican? I don't care. You need help, you need help. I'm saying, I was a corrections officer. I didn't ask my inmates what party they belonged to. They had a situation I needed to address, I just addressed it. So I feel the same way about this. It doesn't matter what party you belong to. That's immaterial. When the elections are over, it's over. So that's how I feel about that whole thing. That's why on many of my stickers that I have, it says, I will represent all the people of the district, and I do mean that, everybody. I do plan on going to the town board meetings here in Rosendale and also in Marbletown. Interact with the people there, talk to the supervisors, stop in to see the supervisors every once in a while. Now they're going to be at the school together, it'll be very convenient. But just the same, I would still make the effort to at least go see them one-on-one, go to the town board meeting in both towns. And if I have time, I know time is precious, I would like to go meet with each town political committee. If I have time, if I'm available the nights that they meet, I have no issue going to Marbletown to meet with the Democrats if they would like to have me there, just to tell them what's going on in the county and to get some of their feedback. And with the Rosendale Democrats, and with the Republicans in Rosendale, and the Republicans over in Marbletown, conservatives, I don't care. If I have the time and you're meeting, I'd like to come sit and at least interact. This is what the county is talking about. This is what we're looking at. What do you guys think? What's your feelings on it? Now, I have to take this information and kind of make a decision on how I want to handle it, but their voices will be heard. And I will do the best I can to represent everybody.
That's great. So you have a Facebook page?
Yes, I do.
Hines for District 19?
Yes, Hines for District 19.
All right. Thank you very much, Kevin, for meeting with me.
All right, Mike.
And good
Thank
luck
you.
in the election.
Thank you very much.
So, Election Day is November 5th.